in 2016, February, I get a call from my parents. Actually, let me go back. My son, we used to live here in Merced, and my son wanted to move back to Eureka because there was a lot of bullying going on in the school grade. And I told him, he came home drenched in Gatorade. He had a white shirt. I remember it so vivid. He had a white shirt on and it was drenched in red Gatorade. He comes down in the house, he slams the door. He's like, I want to move back to Eureka. I want to move back to my mom and dad, Matt and Paul, which he calls my mom and dad. And I was like, what's going on? And then he, got bullied. He's a big kid. He's a heavy set kid. And back then, if you're heavy, you're gonna get picked on regardless, especially, that age, you're not fit or you're not skinny enough or you're not cute enough or whatever. But
How old
he
was
got
he?
bullied. He was I want to say 13.
Oh, that's
13,
the tough age.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when kids starts discovering their body. But anyways, I told him, it was a decision that I was like, either I leave him here and he suffers with the kids here, or move him back and it's much healthier environment in Eureka for him. So I made the choice that, yeah, go ahead and go ahead and move with mom and dad, Matt and Paul, and we'll take it from there. So uh, I did get a phone call on February 16th, 2016, that my dad was on the phone. He was like, he's falling. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, he's falling, he's dead. And I'm like, who's dead? What are you talking about? Because I just got off work, mind you. It's like 10 o'clock.
Mm.
Um, and so I was like, what are you talking about? He's he's dying, he's dying. I was like, Dad, what? Like I thought him and my son got in an argument because at that age they always want to be right.
Yeah.
They know better. They know everything, man. So I was like, what did Jay do? I called my son Jay. I was
Hmm.
like, what did Jay do? He's get over here. And I could hear my mom crying. I could hear everybody crying. And I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So then mom gets on the phone and she's like, you need to come here ASAP. And I'm 7 hours away. And I'm like, okay, I'm still confused.
Yeah.
My mind's all clouded. I'm like, she's Jordan just fell like he fell off his bed. They're taking him in the ambulance right now. And I was like, all right, like, I didn't think nothing of it. So I'm like
Yeah.
packing my bag. I just grabbed whatever
Yeah.
in my bag. I had this little, I remember, like a pink little Hello Duffel Kitty bag, and I just put everything in there. And I was like, come on, let's go. I dropped off my baby to mother-in-law's house, and we just booked it. And I kept staying on the phone with them, and I told them, I told my mom, well, we got on to Oakland, and I get a call from my brother. They're like, they're trying to stabilize his heart right now. And I'm like, so what should I do? They were gonna airlift him over to either Oakland or San Francisco.
Hmm.
Well, they couldn't do that because his heart wasn't stable enough. And then on top of that, the weather in Eureka wasn't that great. It was so foggy. So they were like, we're gonna try to work on him here until we can get his heart stabilized. And I was like, all right, so what should I do? So we just sat in the parking lot of McDonald's, my husband and I. And I was like, hey, you need to grab something to eat because I don't know how long this is going to be or whatever. Because we just really just picked up and left. We were, no dinner was served, nothing was. So then I get a call from my brother. Hey, come, you need to come here because he's not going to make it. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, just come. Like, if as long as you're on the road. So I was like, let's go. So my husband throws his food into the bag and we just head all the way back up. And I get on the phone. We've been on and off. And plus, the reception up there is really bad.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't get anything. So then I was like, I got on the phone. The last time I remember getting on the phone, it was with the doctor. And she's all, Mary, I'm trying my best to save him. I was like, please do the best you can. Like, I'll trade places with him, please. She's all, he's a sick boy. And I'm like, what do you mean he's a sick boy? You know, he's never showed any signs of heart failure. He's never showed he was to me, yes, he was chunky, but he had life in him. He played sports, he was in basketball, he loved it, you know, just he was active. And when she said he was a sick little boy, I was like, no, no, you can't tell me that, you know.
Yeah.
So I cried on the phone. I was like, please, 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 please. She's all, I gotta go. And I hear flatline. I heard flatline on the phone. Got off the I didn't even say bye. I just cried on the phone. I was like, please, you know, like God, whatever. I don't know who's out there. Save my son, please. You know, so I'm still driving. We get pulled over by the cops. He's like he sees us and he's like, you guys are speeding. I was like, no, please, can you just let us go? Like my son is like sick. I need to get up there. And he's like, please take, you know, like he's like, I'm gonna let you go, but please just take it easy, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't tell a mother whose child is dying on the bed to take it slow, you know. So I'm like, all right, thank you, sir, you know, and I'm heading. It was literally 1 hour away, Rosie, before I got to him. Like I was 1 hour away before I got to him, and he passed. He passed, and so uh, I I was lost. I was upset because I didn't make it. I blame myself. I I mean, it was just it was hard. It was I a lot of guilt, a lot of guilt. Believe me, a lot of guilt. I could have made it. I wish I could have made it. Why did I park in Oakland for so long? I should have just took off when I knew I should have. You know, just things like that. And then but I did make it in that hour of drive. I did make it to him, and I got to him.
And tell
Yeah.
me, when you got to him, how what was it like for you, and what?
Um, I couldn't go see him yet because
Mhm.
they had to do all that. You know, you know, they had to pronounce him dead, and then they have to clean him, and you know, just do what they could. The next day was when I had to go and verify his body. I
Mm.
had to go to the morgue's office and yes, that's my son, you know, and make sure that's him. And so I walk into this room. It's just cold, cold, cold. I first we waited out there, and they're like, I told the lady, I was like, I'm here to see my son. And like, oh, okay. They're like, give us about like 15 minutes. We gotta clean him up still. And then he's explaining to me, when you go in there, you're gonna see blood. You're gonna see things that is not that you shouldn't be seeing. But and I was like, so he's preparing me, telling me what I'm gonna see. It's gonna look like he's sleeping. Um, he is cold, and I said, okay. And he goes, if at any point you feel like you need to step out, you can. But we need you to verify that is Jordan Tampason. And I said, okay. And then I walk in there and just like a freezer, like a
Oh,
freezer in there, like a cold room. Go in there and I see him lying, and there's like blood in his eyes. And I said, I didn't want it to be him. I didn't, but it was. I held his hand and I just told him I loved him. Because you know, no parents ever dreamed. Parents always, I've always thought your parents are always going to go first, not your kids. You don't prepare your kids to go first than you, ever. So that was a hard uh, image. It still sticks with me to this day. Um, I wish that was one image that if I had a magic wand to where they gave me permission to erase one image, one memory that I wish I never had was that one. If I could erase having to look at him on that table, the cold metal table, his eyes filled with blood, that's one image I wish I could erase
Mm,
if I had that. Um, I don't know. I always tell people like, oh, if you can, you have to have heart for it because I was not prepared for it at all. I was not. Just seeing him there. It did look like he was sleeping, but at the same time, it was like, that image, the his face was swollen, his eyes were they had blood in them, and I kept asking the coroner's office, the guy, why is there blood in his eyes? And he's like, it happens that way when veins, when they're trying to like bring him back to life, sometimes they erupt,
mm.
and that's what caused blood in the eyes, and it kept just dripping. Like even when I was there, it kept dripping. I grabbed a paper towel and I was wiping it and trying to clean it up. But yeah,
I can't even imagine what you had to go through seeing him on the table in this cold, cold room.
it
And
was
and
a dream.
it was a dream. Yeah. And then you
Mhm.
you mentioned that you had a lot of guilt of like what you could have done, you should have left. Like, does that guilt still come up today?
No, no, because you know what? I learned to forgive. I learned to forgive myself. I
Mhm.
learned to forgive. You know what? Let me say this. You know what hurt the most was when the news started breaking out that he had passed. Everybody was coming up to me, was like, oh, God had a reason, and God this and God that, and then that really made me upset because I'm not a I don't believe in God. I don't do any of that. But when it was that time when people would say God had a reason, and I was like, well, then tell me what's the reason. What was the reason that he took my son? What was the reason that he wanted to see me hurt? I thought if that was the case, then why am I hurting?
Yeah.
And then what I kept saying to other people was like, there was worse moms than myself, ones that are on drugs. Why are they still able to have kids? Why are their kids able to be with them? And here I am, my kid's not with me.
Yeah.
And I kept doing that to myself, and I kept beating at myself, and that's what caused me to go in depression, was
Mm.
that same same mental thought, the guilt that I kept giving myself, and it kept piling. It wasn't just that, it was, I didn't make it in time, I didn't get to see him, I didn't get to spend time with him, just piling it up on. And then I realized I started to go into depression. I went into this huge depression. Like, I didn't want to see the world. I don't care. You look happy with your kids. F you, like, you don't know what I'm going through. So I kept carrying that burden on my shoulder, that heaviness. And it was like, why am I doing this to myself? I've already lost my kid. I don't need more on it. It's just basically piling on. All these emotions that were on there, it was filled with hate. It was
Mm.
filled with depression. It was filled with guilt. It was just all the negativity in that moment. It was all on there, and I was just starting to hate life. I
Mhm.
hated, just like, why me? Walking around, why me? I see this, I see that. Why me? You know, and people kept saying, that when God has a purpose. Tell me then. Tell me what your that purpose is, because I'm dying. I'm I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm losing this battle within myself. And so I kind of self-talked myself out of it, like, Yes, it's a learning experience. Yes, I will get through it with time,
Mhm.
and that's what I tell people. In time, it will slowly heal. But go through all those emotions, go through that anger, go through that hate, but don't allow yourself to be in that for so long because girl, I'm telling you, when you in that hole, it's just either going to get deeper or you're going to try to climb yourself up.
Mm.
You choose what you want. I didn't want to be in that hole anymore, Rosie. I was already hurting. So I didn't want to pull myself down further than I was because one, I could have then I could have been an alcoholic. God knows,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? I could have been an alcoholic. I could have been a druggie. I don't know. If I kept myself in that hole long enough, I probably would have. I probably would have. I probably would have picked up alcohol just to numb my feelings. I've seen it done before. I've seen it done before. I didn't want that. I wanted to be better than that. Because you know what? At the end of the day, that pain will still be there. I just had to open up my eyes, open up whatever it is that I needed to heal within myself and fix that. Because other than that, I would have been lost. I would have been a lost soul. I would
When
have.
wa- when was the decision where you're like, no more of this, no more of this?
It took, you know what, for me, it took almost 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, yes, because you go through the grieving process and it comes in waves. One minute you're good, one minute you're down, one minute you're good, one minute you're down. But my decision was to never pick up alcohol when I did feel that way, you
Mm,
know, because then that would have been my excuse. I'm just gonna drown my sorrow away with alcohol, numb it, whatever it is. That's the thing I chose not to do. And I promised myself and I promised Jordan that I will not pick up alcohol during this grieving time.
mm,
I needed to deal with my emotions raw and I needed to do it with a clear mind and heart.
mm.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. But
Yeah.
it did take me 2 years. Yes.
Yeah. So if somebody is out there that is struggling with, a lost loved one, what advice would you give them?
You know what? I would pray that take your time. Take your time to heal. Take your time. Everybody has different timelines of healing. Um, I believe that it will come. It does come. The first, I would say the first 5 years, uh, I couldn't even say his name. I couldn't even, I mean, I still cry, I still hurt. It's that missing part of me, but it does get better. It does. It truly does. And if you allow yourself to have that healing process, instead of always dwelling on it,
Mm.
work on it, you know, and eventually it will heal. Time does heal. And
Yeah.
believe me when I say that, when they say time does heal, it does. It just takes everybody's different hours, everybody a different second, a minute, whatever you choose, it will heal. I guarantee that.
Mm. I love that. And I love that you said that you forgave yourself. Can you tell me more about how the forgiveness journey helped you in this process?
I started forgiving myself as in I stopped blaming myself. I know I was a good mother. I know I was. So why, you know, I wasn't there. Yes, that's gonna always, but I know that he knew that I was on my way. I know that he knew he was holding on. I know that for a fact because that boy fought for as long as he could, you know. He gave me 1 hour. If I could have gotten there 1 hour, but I forgave myself because I tried. I know I did, and that's all that matters was I tried. I tried my hardest. I tried it, and stop guilting. And I know that he's up there saying, "Mommy, you know, stop, stop with the guilt. You were a damn good mother, You're." So I know that it was just me. It was me. I had to do it, be like he 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 knew. That's all I had to say. He knew. Like I was there. I was coming. So I worked on that forgiveness as like as a thought process of like it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me working myself up. It wasn't anybody else. It was me that needed the forgiveness. That, like, oh, I could have done this. I could have, been a better mom, you know. But I was a mom. I was a good mom until,
Yes.
his time, until his time. So that's all I did was just like I said, just self-talking. Like we always as humans, we always find fault in ourselves first before we find the positive,
Mhm.
and we don't ever like tell ourselves like, oh, that was good that you did that. It's like, no, we could have been better, we could have done better, or like, so I needed to stop doing that. I needed to like, it's okay, it's okay. He forgives you, you need to forgive yourself, you
Yes.
know so
Yeah. And every time I think about forgiveness, when we forgive ourselves, is I try to imagine that when we forgive ourselves, we have to think of ourselves as a baby and like holding that baby in tenderness care. Like you wouldn't hold a baby and just like shake it all up because you're mad. That's what you do.
yeah.
You have the guilt and shame, kind of like you're mad at yourself, like, oh, but how can we hold this baby that's us in
Mm,
tenderness and love? Because that's how we heal and that's how we love is this, how can we love ourselves back?
yes,
Give
yes.
ourselves. So I love that your healing journey, it all starts with forgiveness.
It does. It really does. Because, like I said, we as humans, we tend to find fault in everything in this world, but we never sit and admire the beauty, admire, forgive. It's okay. You did this. All right. I forgive you. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it might not worry them as much as it's worrying you. You're the
Mhm.
one that's going to lose the sleep. So learn to forgive yourself, and you will heal in time. You will heal. So yes.
Oh, I love that. And so now I'm going to come back to how people, they think that they say these words of things to, make you feel better, but really I know that they care, people care, but the way they say things just makes it um like not how would I say it? Like it doesn't connect with the person that's grieving, you know?
Exactly,
It's like they
exactly.
mean well, but it's kind of like sometimes I feel like when people's like, oh, God is, is his timing is to go, is like, you don't say that to a grieving person.
Exactly.
you
Especially when you don't know their religious background, nor do you know if they believe in God or not. Not to say that I'm not bashing on,
yeah,
the religion of God or whatever, but if somebody's not in that state of mind, you can't tell them something and expect them to be like, understanding it when
yeah,
one, you're sitting here telling me, oh, God had a plan. Okay, then what's his plan? If he has a plan and you know it, or if you
yeah,
happen to, if you're speaking on it, then you must know the plan is for me,
yeah,
and I did not like that. I did not care to hear any of the, it's his time, or he had to go, or God takes the
yeah,
goods, the good people, um and it was just like, okay, but then if God planned on doing this, then why is he hurting everybody around him,
yeah.
like it didn't make sense. That's what it was to me. What you're telling me didn't make sense, and
Hmm.
it was more frustrating.
Yes.
And then it started to get annoying, because it was like, you can't tell me, but yet you sit here and you preach it,
Yeah.
and it was like, no, no, I did not want to hear anything in that state. I didn't want to hear the good die young, and things like that. It was just like, I'm sorry, if something like that was to happen and you sit here and you say, "Oh, hey," I say, if you don't have anything just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for
Yeah.
your loss. I'm sorry for what you're going through. And that would have been fine. And
Yeah.
I would have been good with it. But when you sat here and tell me God has a plan, well then let's hear it. Tell me. I'm here. I want to know what the plan is. For me to hurt, for me to grieve, for me to what? For me, not only to me, my mom, my dad, his uncles, aunties, cousins. Let them know
Yeah.
what that plan was, you know, because we would love to hear it.
Yeah. It's like the person is like bypassing what you're feeling. It's like they're saying this, but it's like, oh, like bypassing all the hurt and pain you're going through by saying this thing. And they're
Yes,
forgetting that,
yes.
hey, I'm grieving right now. And this is not what we want to hear. So the question is, how do other people support someone that's grieving?
Just be there in silence. If you hey, let me grab this for you. Hey, you need dinner, just be there.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the support was what I needed too. But it needed to be that silent support. If I wanted to come talk to you, then I'll come. You know, I will come to you in time and I will thank you because I notice everything, even if I'm even when I was grieving, I knew who was there. I knew um everybody who was there for me from day one, all that support that I needed. Once I was done, like not grieving, but once I everything settled down and I was able to clear my mind, I went and thanked everyone. Thank you, thank you. You know, I don't. That's all I say. Just thank you for the support, for letting me lean on you when I was at my weakest, for allowing me to come to you and pour out my emotions to you. You didn't come and are you okay? Or what is there that I can do? It, silent. I needed that clearance. I needed to clear my mind. I needed to process what was going on. I needed because then when everybody's coming at you all at once and it just
Yes.
overload, and you're like, whoa, step back, like,
Yeah.
but I love that everybody understood that what I was going through and allowed me to go to them when I needed the help. Allow me when I was ready to talk about it. I've gotten emails, I've gotten phone calls. What happened to your son? What I
Yeah.
delete. I'm not ready to share that, you
Yeah.
know? It just happened. Why are you so concerned on what happened to my son?
Mhm.
Or if that was the case, then um you weren't in his life, and then why all of a sudden are you curious about it now? And I totally understand. People are like, oh my God, he's so young. He's so young, and how did he pass? Why did he pass? What did he do? And it's like, in time, I will get to tell the story. I will let you know, you know. But when you come at me at the beginning, when I'm trying to process this whole thing going on, you're coming at me like, what happened to him? How did he pass? I didn't want to hear that. I wasn't ready. But now I am, and I can tell the story, and his name, I can say his name. I just, like I said, the only memory I wish I could erase is that one, because that haunts me forever. But that's a memory. It's a core memory. And it makes me realize, like, okay, like, it's gonna be there. It's gonna hurt. And especially when February comes around, that's all I think about, all I could see, all I could picture. And I'm okay with that now. But I do wish I had a little wand. Get it out. Get it
Get
out.
on. Yeah.
Well, yeah, take it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. That's because when you just mentioned that, my husband lost his brother uh suicide, and he didn't want to see his last, like, like, there was this person that was talking about, like, oh, your brother, and like describing the scene, and my husband was like, oh, he didn't want to hear it because he doesn't want
Yeah,
that memory. And now I
yes,
get it. And now I get it because you said it haunts you,
it does. It
and it's
does.
just like, you don't want to see that last memory of that.
Of that, your loved ones
Yeah.
in that kind of pain, in that kind of environment, in that kind of state, and it's like I said, if I had a memory core where you can turn it on, turn it off, that one would have been gone long ago. Control Alt Delete,
Yeah. And so,
you know.
okay, how has, like, the outlook on life and death change okay, let me say this question again. Has your outlook on life and death changed at all since you lost your son?
Yes, yes, a lot. Um, I now look at life as if there is no, we all get the same amount of time. Nobody gets extra. Nobody ever gets extra. We always get the same amount of time. 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, we all get it the same. It's what you choose to do with your life, with what your time, um, how you proceed life. I can sit here and dwell on it. I can sit here and be depressed still, you know, but I don't want to lose any more 24 hours. I don't want to lose minutes. I don't want to lose seconds. I have three beautiful babies that still needs mama, you know, and I want to enjoy them. I want to enjoy them growing up. I want to see them growing up. I didn't get that with Jordan. He passed at 15, 15, 16.
15. Wow.
Yeah. So he got 15 years with mama, but he didn't get any more. I didn't get any more. But I have three little ones that now have, need my 24 hours. I want to be there for Christmas. I want to be there for whatever holidays there is. I don't want to lose any more seconds. Life is, yeah, and I know everybody hears this, but life is too precious, way too precious, you know, to sit and be depressed, to sit and dwell on the negativity of life when we have so much beautiful things around us that we can look at and just be thankful, and my look now versus before I was like F them, like they still have their kids and their mama's on drugs, dad is on drugs, but here I am, and I would hate that. I would hate seeing that because I didn't do anything, or at least I didn't think I did anything to deserve this kind of whatever, this road, this path gate landed me or put in my place. But and I hated that. I hated seeing that. And but now I'm like, you know what, Mary, stop. No more of that. Because you're doing this to yourself. No more. No more excuses. No more, just stop and just look at life the other way around. And so from, when after he passed, it was, my hatred, and then, it's been 5 years. 5 years I started to like let go of that, the hate, the madness, the angry man. I'm telling you, angry is such a bad emotion to where when it controls you, you don't know what to do, what you're saying, all that. It's just it's hurtful, and when you do that to yourself, you're basically cutting yourself each and every time. And I didn't want to stop cutting. I didn't want to I wanted to stop cutting myself down. There I had way too much to live for. So yes, now I look at life as in like enjoy it, embrace it, you know. It will come. There's days when I cry myself like, man, he he would have been, he would have been 23. He would have been 24. He could have been, I always used to tell my best friend, oh, he was gonna pick up mama at the club while mama was like wilding out at the club drunk, and we would always tell him, hey
Yeah.
Jay, when you get older, you're gonna come pick us up at the club. He's like, no, I'm not, and
Yeah.
it's like, like things like that makes it more like, okay, like
Yeah.
it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
But I have some good. I Whatever I got in that little time frame, that 15 years that I got in that little time frame, it was good. So I needed to remember that instead of always the negative.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
And how do you now keep your son's memory alive in your everyday life?
Um on hand on in During February, what I do is I go and I get two number one with orange juice, and I go and sit in the car and I eat, and
Is that
and I have,
his favorite meal to number one?
yes,
What?
well, one for me, and then he would eat
Oh,
the
oh,
other one.
okay. So you get
So
two,
yeah,
one
yeah.
one
So
for you and one for him.
yes, yeah. So I just sit in my car and
Ooh,
reflect.
yeah. And
This
you do
is,
this every year.
every year, every
Wow,
year.
that's
I
beautiful.
Either a beach or whatever, but it's
And,
always in my car, and
yeah.
I go,
And so
yeah.
what comes up when the days like, on his day of passing, you and him reflecting in the car, like what comes up for you?
Just, hey, this is what's going on. I miss you. I wish I could see you grow. Um, but this is mama's life right now. And I just basically talk,
Yeah.
with him,
Yeah.
and we're eating our breakfast and um reflecting, what's going on with my life and what am I feeling.
Mm,
I feel like when you bottle so much in, it's gonna explode.
yes.
So what I do is on February 15th, I just a meal, two number one breakfast meal, and just, hey, this is life. Your brother's getting older. This one's naughty. If you don't know yet, this one acts just like you and he's chunky like you, and um, mama's great. Mama's doing good. Mama got a job. Just things like I didn't think I could do it, but I was a I started when he passed. I became a stay-at-home mom because I didn't want to miss any more of my kid's life. So I stayed at home, and so when I got my first job, and then when I went on my February 15th drive, I was like, Mama did it. 8 years, and Mama got a job. And you should be proud of me, and just uh just
Yeah.
reflecting and being thankful. Nothing negative. There's nothing negative when I sit and talk, because it's more about growth. Mommy's growing, mommy's doing this,
That's so
hey, I lost
beautiful.
this much pounds and I'm
Yeah.
doing the gym thing, and it's
You
like,
are strong as hell. I see you pushing some weights, doing leg work. Like, damn, you are
yeah.
strong, girl.
One
With
day
your
give
little
me a
chicken feet,
watermelon out.
with your little chicken
Yeah,
socks.
yeah, just trying to smile, I know people out there have it worse than me. I do. I believe that. And a little smile of my chicken feet, or the magnet hands that hold
Yeah.
hands, if
Yeah.
you can get a chuckle or a smile from it,
I love that.
that's all
Yeah.
that matters. Like, hey, did you see that girl? I don't know who she was, but she had chicken legs on, or just
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to make, yeah, just trying to make, you know, I know people are going through stuff.
Yeah.
So just a little smile, just a little laugh. I'm goofy like that, so
Yeah.
it's like, let's do this, let's make it smile, because I know you're hurting. I know people hurt. And
Yeah.
so just be like, hey, that girl had that socks that hold hands, and their hands
Yeah.
click together at the gym. Did you see her? It's like, hey, if I got you to smile and laugh, I
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah. You
I
did it.
did it. Like,
And that's all it is. And what I notice about um with you and my mom, because my mom lost two daughters back in the genocide Cambodian killing field days, the Khmer
Hmm.
Rouge, and then she lost her husband. And what I see between you and my mom is that you guys have humor. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
What came
yeah.
out of it is this humor, not taking life so seriously and just like
Hmm.
making like, you're living in the moment, you're being there for your kids, and you're just like, how can I live a little? How can I laugh a little?
Yeah. And
How
then
can
you
you
look
make
at them
somebody
like,
else smile and
yes,
laugh?
yes. Because you know that this pain is gonna be there. It's not gonna go away. It's
Yeah.
not. But if we can do it with a little smile, a little bit of laughter, a little bit of something jolly, that's all it takes,
Yeah.
and just smile because life is unknown, man. I don't know what's gonna happen 4 years from now,
Yeah.
3 years,
We have
10
no
years, but
idea.
we have no
We
idea.
have
There is
no
no written
idea.
book. There is no written book for us. If we did, dude, I'd be flipping through it and trying to bypass all that stuff. Like I don't need this. No, let's skip to the next chapter. I wish there was, but we don't, and that's what we have to deal with. And everybody deals with it differently. But at the end of the day, if that laughter and that humor and people are like, you lost a kid, like you lost a child, like it don't look like it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know it don't look like it because I don't write it all over my face.
Yeah.
I don't walk around sad. I don't walk around, it's in here
Yeah.
forever, forever and debt in here. There's always a hole in here, but I'm not going to walk around and try to make everybody sad or make everybody feel guilty or make everybody feel sorry for me. No, I want you see me smile. I got this. I want you to know that there is life outside that tunnel, outside that darkness. There is life. And once you find it, man, it's freaking amazing, man. Like
Ooh,
you
you're
can
giving
use
me
it. I see the
goosebumps.
club. I can like just making you smile, just making you whatever. It's just like, we got this. We got
Yeah.
this.
And and,
But
and I
like I said, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't want you to, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Mary. No, I tell my story because I want you to understand that there is life out there. There is
yes.
beyond that darkness. There is light, man, and it's amazing. Once you get there, you'll be able to smile. You'll be able to live it to the fullest if you choose to. Don't sit there long. Just don't sit long. You're okay to be there. It's okay. There's days when you will have that I will have darkness because like I said, there is that hole that can never be filled. I will have those days. I have those days. I'm not gonna lie, but it's the next day what I choose to do with it. I can
Mm,
still sit in that. I can still sit in that darkness, but no, I'm gonna turn the light switch and let's enjoy life. Let's do this. Let's dance. Let's listen to some good music. Let's vibe. But I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
I love that how you say if you're in the dark to turn the light switch on. How do you turn your light switch on? You mentioned listening to music. What else do you do to switch the mode from dark to light?
I have three boys, so we wrestle. We, just
Yeah,
going
yeah.
out with them,
Being in the
just
present
watching
moment.
them.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, enjoying that moment. I could, when I do go into that darkness and my kids are around me, I don't see them. I don't acknowledge them. I don't see that they're there. And then I realize like, hey, 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 there's three little boys that need you right now. You can't be in there too long.
Yeah.
Just do what you need to do and let's come up on out of it.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Oops, my
so
bad.
it's
Yeah.
it's all good. Yeah, so it's just my boys and just playing with them and just watching them, man. They're three little boys. They just wrestle
Yeah.
and
That's a lot of
I'd be like,
energy right there.
yes, yeah. So I need that energy to just pop right back up. Yeah.
That's why you go into the gym, because one day you're gonna need all those energy to wrestle with them.
head,
I got you now.
head. I'm not doing it for fun. I
Yeah,
like being thick. I
yeah.
like being chunky. it's more it's more work being skinny than it is to be chunky. I tell you. I can buy a number one and be like, ah, instead of over there in the treadmill, like, oh, I ate two cheeseburger. But you know, like like I said, it's more work to be skinny than this. So it's my excuse is because of boys. I need that
Yeah,
energy for
yeah.
the boys.
It's your son. And I love that
Yeah.
you're how you mentioned that when you're in like checked out in the darkness, like you don't see your son, like you're just they're
Yeah.
not there. Even though they're in front of you,
No.
they're not there because you're not present. So
Yes.
it's like, how can we come back to the present moment? Because I believe like life is this present moment. Like with me being with
Mm-hmm.
you right now, talking and sharing your story, it's so profound and so much wisdom coming out from this because of grief. And with grief is that it is natural. It happens
It's
all the time.
natural
Like
everywhere.
everyone is
Yeah.
grieving. There's thousands of people right now grieving, what's
Yes.
going on. And so it's like, that's why I like talking about grief and death, because it really, like that.
It's a taboo subject. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's happening, you
Yes.
know? And only those people who really, everybody's lost somebody. Everybody. I'm not kidding.
Yes.
Please name me one person that has not lost somebody. You can't because we all lose somebody, but everybody's so scared to talk about it,
Yeah.
so it's one of those subjects where you're like, oh, let's back up on that, but it does need to be, there needs to be a light that shines on it, because you don't want, there's somebody that could be hurting and they, can't crawl out of that dark space. And believe me, you will crawl out of that dark space. Believe me. uh, One way or another, you're gonna get out there, and you will get to enjoy life, um like I said, we never as parents, we don't believe that. My mom always taught me, like, you don't go before your kids. I mean, your kids don't go before you. Your kids are never to die before you, to never pass before you, because then, as a parent grieving, that's impossible. But when you think about it, that, oh, my mom and dad's getting old, soon they're gonna pass. You see that.
Yeah.
But for a parent to see that, they gone before you, it's like, hold up, like, that's not how it's written. I've always thought it was one straight shot of, you know
Yeah.
there's no such thing as kids going before a parent, but that
Yeah.
does happen. and
Yeah.
and believe me, it could take you 1 year to 10 years to get through it, but you will get through it. It gets easy. It gets bearable. It doesn't get easy, it gets bearable, because those waves will come. And
Yeah.
believe me, when they come, it hits. It's like tsunami. Like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that emotion. Or something as simple as walking down and you smell a scent of them.
Yeah.
Or, or like if you uh see like their favorite chips or whatever, it's like, oh man, he used to kill that bag, like, man, I don't see, and then things like that. And then there will be that wave, but it gets bearable.
It gets
And
bearable.
like, for me, I would see something, I'd cry right in the store, because I was like, man, that was his favorite drink, or man, that was his favorite thing to eat, and everything reminding me of him. This certain smell. There was a smell that he liked, and every time I smell, I'm like, like crying. It's like, it took me a while, and
Yeah.
it's gonna take you. I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, you're gonna click and it'll be all gone. No, everybody has a different timeline of grief, and
Yeah.
how to grieve,
Yeah.
and when to grieve, and but it does.
Yeah. I
It,
agree, because I lost my father at 7 years old. So
mm,
when I grieve, I was young. I didn't know that you can go talk to people. To me, I grieved in my bedroom. There were times
by
where
yourself.
by myself just cry and like miss my dad, and I just talked to him. So growing
Yeah,
up, I had to grieve by myself in my room, just letting
yeah,
the cry, just cry. Like, who do you? I didn't know,
yeah.
as
How do you talk about your feelings?
Yeah, I was young.
especially
I didn't
being,
know. I just cried in my
yeah.
room, and that's how
Oh,
I grieved, is just, crying in my room. And I used to write journals, my little like Hello Kitty diary with a little log. Like I
oh,
would just write like,
yeah.
like, oh, I miss you, ba, and this and that. But now that, it's been over, I don't know how long, since 1990, he passed away.
Oh,
Honestly,
wow.
I feel like my dad is closer to me than ever. Like his presence
Yes,
near. Sometimes like I'll be going somewhere and I just like, feel like this presence. I'm like, oh, my dad is here.
yes,
and
yes,
and
yes.
sometimes he jokes around with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. It's just weird. Like he still has it, even though he's gone, I could feel his
Mm-hmm.
humor
Yes,
around,
yeah.
you
And
know.
that humor is in you.
Yeah, if you feel it, no,
Yes,
nobody else can. I can't explain it to you,
yeah.
but you just know it. Like it's like a knowing in here that I'm like, oh, okay, that's
Yes,
you. Like, oh, that's you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. There's
yeah,
I always do I always little blue jays
yeah.
would
Oh, little
remind
blue
me of
jays.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there would be one that just flies around the house. I'm like, all right, I
yeah,
get
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like, and I never seen blue jays. That's the crazy thing. But
Uh,
once in a long while, there'll be this little blue jay that just comes and just flies
yeah,
around that neighbor. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I see you. I get
Yes,
you. I feel you. I love you.
yes,
I love you. That's and I miss you too. And
yeah,
it makes you feel lighter. Like I
yes,
don't know how to like wholesome. Like
yeah,
even though they're gone, their presence
yeah.
because
Even though
he left.
their body is
Yeah,
gone, but they're like spiritually or emotionally, like not spirit, not their present is still here with you.
it's their energy.
Yeah,
It's
their
their
energy is still
energy.
with here. He might not,
Yes,
their physical
yeah.
body is not here, but the
Mm-hmm.
energy that doesn't die, it transforms, you know?
Yes,
And I
yeah,
just feel
and
like we as human beings, we're nature, right? Like
mm-hmm.
animals, they're nature. And the animals, they lose like little ones all through a different season of life. And we're just like
Mm,
them. And then we just forget that we're human, like we're like the only one that exists, but really we're just nature too. We
yes,
go through the
yeah,
whole cycle because after we die, we it goes back to the earth. We give it back to
yes.
earth.
We give, yeah, and that's why I said. So be good to yourself.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself.
Be
Be
kind to yourself.
Yes, be kind. That's all. I mean, this world is has enough ugliness.
Yes. Yes.
Just you being kind to yourself and just allowing yourself and forgiving yourself and loving yourself and I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like this 24/7. I'm not all lovey-dovey. Some
Yeah.
days I'm like, damn girl, you need to get back to the gym. you know Hey, you're gonna eat that donut. You really don't need to eat that
Yeah.
donut, but you know what I'm saying? Like you just gotta be kind. Eat that donut. Shit. What
Yeah. Yeah.
like eat it. Like I don't know. You know, it just be there for yourself. Cause at the end of the day, you just need a good support system, one,
Yeah.
and make sure your support system isn't there always, like, let them know, because then you have to let them know boundaries too, like, hey, I don't appreciate that right now. Can we talk about it after I process this all, and so my boundaries already, my friends, everybody knew, that, oh, let's leave Mary alone today. She looks like she needs that space. Or and then when I was done, I was back to my normal self again. And that's all I needed was that time, that little second, that little minute, just to reboot, because we do need a reboot. We do.
Yeah.
And
And we
um
all need that space.
yes, yeah. So having a good support system was my number one, because I think if I didn't have a good support system, my husband, my family, my husband was the one that encouraged me to go back to college. Like, because I was, like I said, I was down, going down as fast as I could. Like, I mean,
Mm.
when it happened, I locked myself into the room. I just went downhill. And he was like, "Hey, you need to go do something. You need to go get out of here."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Excuse me, like, you didn't lose somebody, I did. I don't know who you're telling to get out of here."
Yeah.
And he didn't mean it like that. It was
Yeah.
more like, get up.
Yeah.
Okay, I gave you your space, I gave you your time. Now you're just like not wanting to do anything. So then he said, go back to school. And I went back to college. I
Nice.
went back to college. So I did college for 2 years, but then and then just getting building yourself out, getting yourself out, and college, I'm like, I'm done with high school a long time ago. I don't need college. What is college going to teach me? But it taught me to get out.
Mm,
That I didn't. If I sat too long, then it would just be, I liquor probably would have been my best friend at that moment. So, but like I said, I already made that promise that I was not going to pick up liquor when I got to my low stage, my down
yeah.
stage.
And what is it about
Um,
liquor that you said no, no to no liquor, no drugs?
I seen it. I seen it
See.
way too many times. I seen people grieve when they're drunk, and it was ugly, and it was not true to themselves. And then when you get done with being whatever you were drunk, you step back and you're sober and you're like, dang, I did that.
Mm,
I said that. That wasn't me, And then who are you going to blame? The liquor?
yeah.
You know, you can't blame the liquor. You got to blame yourself now. You got to take accountability for your for that action. You made yourself a fool in front of everybody. And I seen it happen at my son's. We do our 7 day
Hmm.
um funeral. The service and whatever we do for
Yeah.
7 days.
Yeah.
I seen people drunk and I seen them at their worst, and I'm like, dude, like that's not what we're here for,
Yeah.
That's not what this is about. Because then at the end of the day, when you got sober, everybody's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
that's not the real you. So I chose not to because then I didn't want that ugliness to come out. Because then it would have been a lot of ugliness. So yeah. So and then yeah, just it was a more like a personal choice. Like I don't want my son to be hearing mama got drunk and couldn't handle her liquor and just
Yeah.
not at that time. So it was good because then it helped me not to drink because I have low tolerance now for alcohol. Like I smell it and I'm drunk. That's how bad. That's how long I
Yeah.
haven't been drinking.
Yeah.
Because I vowed to myself that because I haven't fully healed, I wasn't gonna pick up liquor and then oh you, you guys my son passed and try to use that as excuse to
Yes.
act up
Hmm.
and I didn't want that. So until I knew I was fully not fully healed, but until I knew I was good at a good place in my heart in my mind and those two are connected together, then I can have a little drink or here and there. But I still don't. I mean, here and there, yeah, in a good, party, but I don't get it don't take me that much. Now,
Yeah.
like I said, because like I said, I allowed myself to have a clear mind. I
Yes.
allowed myself, yeah, to to
Yeah.
to be able to process it through without having interference.
Yes. And I love that because I've been sober for 2 years now. And I do not, I just, I think after having kids, it's like I didn't want to wake up with a hungover. And how can I be there for my kids when I'm just like not there for myself? I can't even take care of myself. And
Right.
and to me now, like being sober for 2 years is actually the best thing that ever happened to me too.
I
Because
know, right?
I mean, there's days where like I went on a ski trip and then I was like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to just have a beer. And like I thought about it, like, oh,
Hmm.
it's nice to be able to cheer, but I was like, no, I don't need it, you know. But
Right.
I just love waking up early in the morning with no hangover, and I, I love the present and my own energy. So it's like I don't need liquor to,
That alcohol, yes, that booster, whatever they call it,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
get
just don't need
you.
it. I don't need it anymore. And I could have fun
Hmm.
without it. I think I do more adventurous things now, uh
Yeah.
being sober versus, being when you're drunk and getting a hangover, you can't do shit. I mean,
No,
you
you
still can't do
can't.
stuff, but it's like, you're I don't know.
But I think the next day, that's what
Yeah.
you realize, like, dang, I did all that, and like I said, I seen people at my son's funeral, or like at the hundi is what we call
Yeah.
it, and they weren't at the right place, they weren't at the right state of mind, and so I'm like, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that, like that.
And you chose not to drink
Yeah.
for you
Uh-huh.
and your son. I love that. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
I did.
So is there anything else that you want to share about your journey of grief or your son's life?
Um, I don't know. No, I just think, like I said, just take your time, and it's okay. It is okay to fall. It is okay, but just get back up. You know, life continues, and time really, really does heal. I can't emphasize that enough, because it's like it really does. It really does. It does take time, and my friends, one of my friends, her sister just passed away recently, and I just text her here and there. I don't bombard her with questions. I did. She just one day she texted me. She goes, I just said, I think it was Christmas or something, and I said Happy or Merry Christmas, and she goes, oh, it's not gonna be a good Christmas. My sister just passed, and I'm like, oh man, I'm here for you. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
I didn't ask anything. I didn't, I'll be here for you always when you're ready to come to me, or like when you need comfort, when you need anything, I'm going to be here for you. So I told her, I'm here whenever you need me. And then here and there, I'll send her things, and just trying to make her day, because I know she's hurting, because it just recently happened. So I know she's hurting. And so here and there, I would send her like little funny stuff. And she's
Yeah.
like, I needed this, I needed this laughter today. Thank you. That's it. I don't ask anymore. I don't say anymore. I end the conversation there.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, another 2 weeks, 3 weeks pass, and send her another text. Just having that great support system, knowing that you're not alone. You will never be alone. But if you choose, then you will be alone. If you want to shut people out, then you will be alone. But
Mm,
just know that at least crack it open, crack the door a little bit open, to where people know that they're welcome, but not yet. you know Once you swing that door fully open, everybody's welcome. That's when you've healed, when you can fully open the door to allow anything and everything to come through at you, and be okay with it, and learn how to like cope with it. You made it. You made it. But just know there will be your time. You will have that time. And I like I said, I text her, time will heal. I promise you that. I can't guarantee you when and how long it will take, but it will be there. And then she just thanked me, and I just leave it at that. So here and there, like I said, just making sure you have that a good support system, and um, learn how to uh, be open
mhm.
to those emotions.
Yes.
Because if you shut those emotions out, it's just going to drown you even more. So cry. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to curse, curse. If you need to break something, break it. If
Yes.
that helps you by any means while you're going through this journey, do it. Allow it. It Let it come, and then it'll go. Just like waves, it'll come, it'll go. But while you're there, just take it, embrace it, whatever you need.
And
Yeah.
I
So
and
just
I and I love that because that's why I do somatic breath work now.
mhm.
Because a lot of people they suppress their emotions or
Yeah.
they don't have solitude for quietness and stillness to process what just went on. So with the breath work, you're able to, you know, be in silence and also to feel whatever's coming up for you, to
Mhm.
release those emotions that's um arises within you, maybe something that you've been holding on for like years, past trauma, hurts, whatever.
Mhm.
It's a place where you're able to just whatever's coming up for you is coming up to move through you. And that's
Yes.
what us learning about, not suppressing our emotion to like let it out, cry, release. If you're anger, instead of being angry and lashing it on the people you love, how can you let go of anger in a more healthy manner, you know? And the
Yes.
somatic breath work is you're there, like, you're angry, let me give you a pillow, fucking scream, shout, do whatever you need to do, you know? If you're
Mm-hmm.
sad, you know, be sad. Let me hold you if you're sad, you know, if you know, just to be with them, to see them in this vulnerable way. And I think
Yes.
healing is letting go of those emotions. So you have more room to, you know, bring in the joy, the happiness, the more love, or whatever you're calling in.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to release
Yeah,
those emotions to have the goodness come in into your life.
exactly. I believe, you know what? I think our age, the 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 kids that were born in the 1980s and up, I feel like we had to suppress our feelings. You know, when my son passed, I didn't know who to go to. I'm like, we don't cry. I mean, we cry to I never cried to my parents, you
Yeah.
know. I never went to my parents. So it was like um the only people that I went to, was my little brother or my brothers, and it was like, but then again, do you cry in front of them, because it's like they never seen me cry. They never seen me, I never opened up to them. I guess that's what I could say. I never opened up to them fully about my feelings or whatever. Now, since my son passed, I've been able to like communicate my feelings. I've been able
Yeah.
to express my feelings, and
Mhm.
I love you. I
Yeah.
love you guys, and back then I never said it,
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
said I love you, and it just made my communication with my family a little bit better. Like,
Yes.
you know, um, just allowing that, because we do suppress it a lot. And I think for us, I don't know about other culture, but for us, Lao, Southeast Asian people, we don't go to our parents and be like crying, like, this
Yeah.
hurts, mom. Like, my son passed. How do I do this? And I never went to them for that. And it's like, and I wish I did, but I totally get it,
We
So
didn't know how at that moment, and it's from our
exactly.
parents being, you know, suppressed at this war that they had to go through, you know, being
Yes.
immigrants coming here, they being suppressed. They couldn't let, you know, they couldn't show their emotions. If they showed their emotion, they would have been killed. So there was a lot of suppression
Yes.
when how they grew up. So when they grew up, they came to America, and that
Mhm.
passed on to us. And we are the
Right.
change maker. We are the change makers. We're
Yes.
like,
And you know what?
the trauma
When
ends
my
with you. No more. I'm
Yes,
not passing it to
yes.
my kids.
No, no, man. And
Yeah.
then you know what? My mom, when everything was settled down, my mom apologized to me, and I've never heard my mom said sorry ever, ever to me. And I know this was eating her alive, because when she said it to me, she cried. She said, "I'm sorry." And I said, "For what, mom?" She said, "I could have taken better care of him." And I said, she needed to hear it. And I said, "Mom, we did the best we can. You were the best man that you could have ever been for him." And me relaying that to her was so hard, because we never shared that emotion, that
Yeah.
rawness, and so when she came to me and she's like, "I'm sorry," that opened up my eyes. I'm like, oh, she's holding on
Yeah. It's been eating
to
her up
this.
too.
It's, and I'm thinking here, it's eating me up more than eating. It's eating my mom up, it's eating
Yeah.
my dad up, but they are not able to tell me. But until, like I said, recently, my mom was like, "I'm sorry," and I'm like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
where is this coming from? Like, you never say sorry.
Yeah.
But she apologized, and I gave her the biggest hug, man. We
Oh,
cried. I
yeah.
sh I hugged her, and I was like, "Don't be hard on yourself." I said, "Mom, it's okay," telling her it happened. It's nothing we could done to prevent this. Like, he was, like I said, he was a sick boy. Like the nurse doctor said, he was sick. What happened was his heart, his left side of the heart was bigger than his right side. So basically, he had a mini heart attack.
Mm.
So his left side was pumping, and it was bigger, over pumping for the right side because the right side was the weak side. So his left side of the heart, and then she said like his whole inside was like as if he was an 80-year-old,
No
you
way.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had like issues within inside of him that we didn't know. Outside, we looked at him, he looked like, he loved life. He was
Yeah.
playing sports, and you can't, like I said, you can't really look at somebody and be like, oh, he looks healthy. Oh,
Yeah.
he looks happy. Oh, you can't do that until you actually really go inside them and
Mm.
and see what they're dealing with. And like I said, I mean,
Yeah. Nobody
I
knew.
didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. And it was sudden. That's the thing, was that it was sudden. And when it happened, it was like it didn't make sense. Like, please let it, you know, did he do drugs or something, because I even had them do toxicology, because telling me that he had a heart attack wasn't enough for me,
Yeah.
because he looked healthy as
Yeah.
a kid outside,
Yeah.
and so I was like, run all the toxicology tests that you have, please,
Yeah.
because at least if I know that he passed on an overdose or something, that would be like, not that it's excusable, but it would be like, okay, he he put drugs into his body. But
Mhm.
this was like, you're telling me a 15-year-old had a heart attack?
Yeah. You don't hear that.
It,
Yeah.
you don't hear that. Yeah. And so I was like, so my mom, like I said, my mom was living with guilt. I didn't know that for the longest time. And so like when she said sorry, I just was we had this longest talk, and I was like, wow, like I wasn't the only one that was in this. She was too. We were both fighting, and we didn't know how to communicate with each other and how to pull each other out. Had I known that, I probably would have helped her,
Yeah.
because I know it was killing her more than,
Mm.
seeing my mom hurt. And then when you see your mom hurt is like a whole different aspect. Like, you like, no, you don't
Yeah.
see your
Like you
mom
get like,
hurt,
oh, I
you
can't
don't.
believe she's been holding this in for so long.
Yes, and
And
so
suffering
like I
in
said, her
silence.
grief, yeah, her grieving process was more silent than
Yeah.
mine was. Mine was like, I'm gonna try to get myself out of this, and at the same time I lost aspect and thinking, oh, my mom needed my help too, Mom needed to help swim. She needed her head above water, And when we had that talk, I see her so much different now.
Yeah.
Like, just telling her. And then she called me that the week of his anniversary. She's like, I went and got him a Big Mac, and you know how we do our like our little Buddha blessing.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I got him a number one and Coke and fries. And I was like, you did, Mom? You and if anybody's seen my mom or knows my mom, she has so like very hard accent,
Yeah.
and for
Yeah.
her to go and order um number one at McDonald's by herself with a Coke, please, I was like, you did it, Mom, like,
Yeah.
yeah. She's like, and she had me, it was crazy because she had me on the wife or on
The wife.
FaceTime, and
Yeah.
she's like, I'm gonna go order, okay? And I'm like, she's like, I'm gonna get the number one. And I was like, okay. And then I hear her, man, I was like cracking a shit. Can I have the number one with the Coke, please? And I'm like, that's my mom, like
Yeah.
she did it, so
Yeah.
she's stepping out of her little whatever she went through, and
Yeah.
she's being brave, I
Yeah.
see her in a different light,
Yeah.
and I'm sure she sees me in a different light, and she lost a grandchild, I lost a child, so it's like, and you forget that like everybody is hurting alongside with you. It's just nobody talks about it,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
just letting it go, talking about it.
Talking about it. Yeah.
And yeah,
Talking
and
about with the
great.
right support system,
Yes,
right support.
yes,
Because
with the right.
yeah.
Otherwise, because you can go the other way too. And so just make sure you have a great support system, and and in time it will fall into place. But yeah, do not for once, like, I know that when you go through the hatred, just go through it, but don't make it don't make it your heart bleed black,
Yeah.
because that hatred, like I said, it was eating me. I hated everyone and everything for saying certain things. I'm like, why did she say that for? And then um ignoring it. If you can't, I say, if you can't respond, I like I said, when people were texting me and asking me about him, asking about what happened, I just ignore it until I was ready. Until I was ready, then I started to tell them. But at the time, I wasn't ready for you to, like, to come and ask me, like, oh, what happened to him? In time, I saw your text. I still seen their text message, and I was like, I'll respond to them when I'm ready.
Yeah.
When it could be a month from now or whatever, but
Yeah.
respond accordingly, and you don't have to get back to people right away. If they are your true friends, and if they understand, they won't bombard you, so,
Yes.
and they will allow you to heal. But yeah, you will. It gets bearable.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
It
Mary,
does.
thank you so much. Now you open up to me because I actually wanted to hear your story, but this is like the perfect timing of actually hearing all of it. And it's so
Yeah.
beautiful how, you know, suffering and losing a loved one is so tough. Like I can't even imagine what you've been through. But just to hear your story and what you've been through is like, you make me feel about myself, about like, oh shit, about my, losing my dad,
Mm.
of the grief part. I don't know how it
Yeah.
feels to lose a child, but with grief, it's like, it is, you have to deal with grief all the time.
Yes.
Grief
Yes.
is going to come. It's a
No
natural
matter what.
part of life. And it's just learning
Hmm.
how to deal with grief. And you found your way of dealing with grief by, feeling those emotions out, not suppressing it with alcohol, feeling it out, having a good support system, you know, having your husband, like, go wake up, go do something. That your time of depression, or like, like, get out of the room, go do something. So I love
Mm.
that you have the support system with that. And then opening up with your mom, like that is so beautiful for her to just, you know, have the courage to even just say, I'm sorry. Like I
Mm.
would have cried too, just like, I'm sorry. And then,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, oh my gosh, thank you, Mary. I know that your story is going to help someone else because
Mm.
it's powerful what you've been through and what you overcame too. So thank you so much for sharing your
Thank
story.
you.
And you're making moves. Watch out
No,
for them
girl,
chicken
you are.
stocks, man.
My check me out. My little chicken legs. No,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to open up. I mean, I tell people, like, when they ask me, or like when certain people, and it's like, but here I am. I hope everybody takes something from it. And um like I said, it does take time. Give yourself that, and allow yourself to go through all that emotion. Don't suppress it. Don't, just let it come, and it will go, and it'll go away, and you'll be back to yourself, and in time.
Time.
In time. Yes.
I love it. All right. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah. Thank you, Rosie.
Okay. I'm going to pause it now.